Number 7. The Spirit of Miami Shipwreck. When the Keys were first settled 2 centuries ago, they were known for their adventurous seafaring spirit. Today, the island chain's rich history is showcased in museums and attractions, with tales of sunken treasure and trips taking dives down to famous wrecks like the Spirit of Miami shipwreck off Key Biscayne. The Florida Keys' most well-known wreck is the Nuestra Señora de Atocha, found off Key West in 1985 by a shipwreck salvager named Mel Fisher. The Spanish galleon's treasures, including gold chains and cannons, are now on display at Key West's Mel Fisher Maritime Museum for the public. Other shipwrecks in the nearby waters include the Belzona barge, a 115-foot steel barge that was sunk by Hurricane Andrew in August of 1991. She is one of the most popular wrecks in South Florida for both beginners and advanced divers alike due to her shallow depth and beautiful coral-covered hull. There's also the Proteus, a 220-foot freighter that was sunk in 1985 for the Miami-Dade County Artificial Reef Program. It is a great introduction to Miami's excellent collection of artificial reefs and a good wreck for interested beginning divers. The Proteus has a unique appearance and an abundance of sea life covering it. The stern and starboard sections of the ship are completely blacked out with coral, making it an ideal site for night diving. Another great Miami wreck is the Belzona II, a 90-foot steel tugboat that was sunk in February of 1991 as part of the Artificial Reef Site Program. She's in about 60 feet of water and has a lot of colorful sponges and hard corals all around her. It's pretty common to see a variety of barracudas here, along with angelfish, jewfish, grunts, yellowtails, and many different kinds of soft and hard corals on this reef. There's also a large pilot house that contains schools of baitfish. Also, a 727 jet airliner was intentionally sunk off the coast of Miami in 1993 by the DERM, or the Department of Environmental Resource Management. She's now divided into 2 sections, with the main body in 82 feet of water and the tail section in about 110 feet of water. Other wrecks in the area that are worth a visit include the Sherry Lynn, a 235-foot freighter that was sunk in 1990 by Hurricane Andrew. The ship is still in the water and has a long cargo hold that offers an incredible variety of sea life. Number 6. The Nucleus. The Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society has recently announced the discovery of the Nucleus, a 19th century ship that first sank in a brutal storm and ran aground on Lake Superior back in 1869. This is one of the oldest wrecks along the shipwreck coast, and its checkered past makes it particularly interesting. Some debris from the wreck can still be seen 600 feet below the surface of Lake Superior, over 150 years after it sank. Researchers located the wreck using a side-scan sonar in 2021 and then positively identified it with a remotely operated vehicle in 2022. According to the museum, it was transporting iron ore when on September 14, 1869, it got stranded in a storm along Shipwreck Coast at the southeast tip of Lake Superior and started filling up with water. Without any reported casualties, the crew apparently jumped ship and was saved by a passing schooner called the Worthington. They were actually ignored entirely by another vessel, the SS Union. The Nucleus is one of the oldest ships retrieved from the Great Lakes, and the finding was pretty important according to Bruce Lynn, executive director of the society. The wreck was surprisingly in decent shape, according to Darrell Ertl Jr., the director of marine operations at the society. According to him, the stern was still intact. Not only that, but its port side was as well. He said he initially believed the vessel was lying completely in pieces at the bottom, but the find proved otherwise. This made him and other researchers very excited. Number 5. The USS Samuel B. Roberts. The wreckage of the USS Samuel B. Roberts, a destroyer escort that was sunk in the Battle of Samar back in October of 1944, has been discovered. It's believed to be the deepest shipwreck ever uncovered and was found after a series of 6 dives in the ocean by an experienced expedition team using innovative technology. The ship was built in 1944 and commissioned on April 28th of the same year. Earning the sailor's nickname Sammy B, she served in the Pacific Fleet for only 6 months or so and was assigned to Task Unit 77.4.3, which was formerly referred to as Taffy 3. In her service, she fought in several naval battles against enemy forces, including the Battle of Leyte Gulf. She was one of many ships that helped fight off the Japanese and selflessly put themselves in danger to protect U.S. invasion forces. On the morning of October 25th, she was engaged in a battle with 2 Japanese cruisers and several destroyers that were much more powerful than she was. She was surrounded by Japanese guns, and her crew was badly damaged from shelling from the battleships, but they faced the danger bravely. Her fire was so intense that she knocked out a turret on the Japanese cruiser Chikuma and caused huge casualties and damage to the other ships. A Japanese commander named Kurita was afraid that he was facing a larger force and ordered his destroyers to withdraw. Despite her incredible efforts, the ship did eventually sink. After being spotted by an underwater explorer, the wreck was rediscovered in the waters off the Philippines. It was located at a depth of 22,621 feet, making it the deepest known shipwreck in the world. This was a testament to the courage of those who lost their lives. It also served as a reminder to the rest of the world that a great battle is never truly over. Since the wreck is now rediscovered, it reminds us all how important it is to remember the brave men and women who fought and died defending their country. The crew of the USS Samuel B. Roberts is still remembered, and their story will live on forever in history. Have you ever heard of the USS Samuel B. Roberts before? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you're enjoying the video so far. Number 4. The U-111. The U-111 was one of hundreds of German submarines that fought in the action of World War I, sinking enemy ships and disrupting countless trade routes. It was also one of the 14 U-boats that surrendered to the United States after Germany's harsh defeat in 1918. The U.S. Navy used these captured submarines for training and testing purposes until they decided to dispose of them by intentional sinking. The U-111 met its end on June 21, 1922, when it was attacked by U.S. warplanes near Cape Henry, Virginia. The submarine sank to a depth of 1,600 feet, making it inaccessible for exploration and the possibility of recovery. For almost a century, it stayed hidden and forgotten under the sea. That all changed, though, in August of 2022, when Joe Petkovic, an amateur diver and shipwreck hunter, found the wreck of the U-111 while exploring off Virginia Beach. He was surprised to find the submarine only 400 feet underwater, much shallower than expected. He also noticed that the submarine was remarkably well preserved, with its hull, propellers, and deck gun still fully intact. He contacted the Naval History and Heritage Command, which confirmed he had found the last World War-era German submarine in U.S. waters. This discovery is a rare and valuable opportunity for historians and archaeologists to study a piece of naval history that has been lost for decades. The NHHC plans to conduct further research on the submarine, including documenting its condition, identifying its features, and analyzing its construction and design. They also hope to work closely with German authorities and experts to share information and insights on this historic vessel. The U-111 is not only a military relic, but also a cultural heritage site that deserves respect and protection. After all, as Petkovic said, it's not just metal down there, it's history. Number 3. Brook Hill Ferry. The Brook Hill Ferry was a wooden steamboat that operated along the Mississippi River between Baton Rouge and Port Allen from the late 1880s to 1915. It was a two-hull vessel similar to a pontoon boat and measured 95 feet long and 10 feet wide. It was powered by a steam engine and had a top capacity of about 20 passengers and several vehicles. The ferry met its end on June 15, 1915, when it hit another steamboat called the City of St. Joseph near downtown Baton Rouge. The impact caused a fire that engulfed both boats and killed about 4 people. The Brook Hill then sank to the bottom of the river, where it remained hidden for over a century. In October 2022, thanks to record low water levels caused by drought and climate change, the Brook Hill's wreckage was exposed along the riverbank for the first time since it sank. An engineer named John Fort spotted it while walking his dog and told a Louisiana state archaeologist named Chris McGimsey, who confirmed its identity and major historical significance. Quickly, the Brook Hill attracted media attention and public curiosity, as people flock to see and touch this rare piece of maritime history. Fort's engineering firm, Fort and Tablada, even made a virtual tour of the shipwreck using 3D scanning technology, which let people explore it online from different angles. The Brook Hill is not only a fascinating glimpse into Baton Rouge's past, but also a reminder of how nature can reveal hidden secrets when we least expect it to. As McGimsey said, it's kind of magical to find a sunken ship. Number 2. The Endurance. The Endurance was a ship that belonged to Sir Ernest Shackleton, a famous Antarctic explorer who led 3 British expeditions to the frozen continent during the early 20th century. The ship was part of his most ambitious and daring expedition, called the Trans-Antarctic Expedition, from 1914 to 1916, which aimed to cross Antarctica from coast to coast through the South Pole. But the expedition faced a series of terrible disasters and challenges that tested Shackleton and his crew's endurance. The worst of it was when their ship got trapped and crushed by sea ice in the Weddell Sea back in 1915, forcing them to abandon it and make a remarkable escape on foot and in small boats across treacherous terrain and ocean. The fate of the Endurance was a mystery for over a century, until a team of international scientists and explorers went on a historic mission to find it. The mission, called Endurance 22, was organized and funded by the Falklands Maritime Heritage Trust and used state-of-the-art technology like underwater robots, helicopters, and sonar to find and survey the wreck. In March 2022, after overcoming many difficulties posed by harsh weather and ice conditions, Endurance 22 announced that they successfully found the Endurance 3,008 meters below the Weddell Sea, within 4 miles of where it sank. The team captured stunning images and videos of the shipwreck, which showed that it was remarkably well preserved by the cold conditions and clear water. The Endurance's discovery was not only a scientific achievement, but also a tribute to Shackleton's legacy as one of history's greatest polar explorers. His story of survival against all odds has inspired generations of adventurers and leaders. And number 1, the Lake Ontario shipwreck. During the United States Revolutionary War, the British warship HMS Ontario met a tragic end in Lake Ontario. She was a 22-gun Snow, a type of sailing vessels with 2 masts and a triangular sail at the back. She was about 80 feet long and carried over 120 people total, including soldiers, sailors, civilians, and prisoners. She left Fort Niagara on October 31st, 1780, bound for Oswego, but she never made it to her destination. A violent storm swept across the lake that night, with winds so strong they tore off trees on the shore. The HMS Ontario was caught in the middle of it and sank to the bottom of the lake. For over 2 centuries, her location was a mystery. Many tried to find her, but none were successful. She was considered one of the holy grails of Great Lakes shipwrecks. Finally, in 2008, 2 explorers named Jim Kennard and Dan Scoville located her using side-scan sonar technology. They found the ship lying upright and intact in deep water between Niagara and Rochester. The HMS Ontario is now a time capsule of history, preserving artifacts and stories from a turbulent era. She's also a war grave, holding the remains of those who died along with her. She is now legally protected from looting or disturbance. Have you ever seen a wreck in the water before? Let us know if you have in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.